Well, hello, everybody. So happy to see you all. I love doing these live streams because I feel like I can get to know you a little better. All my friends there in the chat. It's just such a blessing to see you all, and yeah, it's so awesome. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy days or evenings, depending on where you are in the world, to join us here for a little bit of mutual encouragement as we see the day drawing near. So, oh my goodness, there's so much going on. If you are willing to do this, maybe you could just in the chat there, let me know where you are from. I always love to see where my subscribers and people who show up here on the live streams, where you're coming from. It helps me actually to know how to do timing for for these live streams. So yeah, thank you so much for letting me know. We've got Ohio. Oh yeah, Rue, you're in the place that I can't pronounce. I don't know why I can't, but it's somewhere in the Caribbean. We've got Texas, Canada, North Carolina, Virginia, Tennessee, Wisconsin. Oh boy, everywhere. Just wonderful. Thank you so much. London, UK. Wonderful. Welcome. Saskatchewan, Puerto Rico. Anguilla rhymes with vanilla. Oh, thank you, Rue. Anguilla. I just never know. I always want to say it the Spanish way, anguilla. And I'm like, no, that can't be right. Norway. Wonderful. So happy to see you all. Lizette in Cape Town, South Africa, Kentucky, Louisiana, Ontario, Denver. Southeast Minnesota, welcome. Paraguay, thank you. Thank you all for coming today. It's just really wonderful to see you. Yeah, Rebecca in Willamette Valley. Yeah, you're not that far away. Been through Willamette Valley. It's a beautiful place there. So yeah, welcome. Argentina, Illinois, more in South Africa, Scarborough, England, Bethlehem, Palestine. Welcome. So happy to have you, Laura. Okay, well, we're going to talk. I'm going to talk off the top of my head. And I've gotten some questions from some of you in the chat already. And I may be answering questions, addressing questions. But really, what I want to do is just encourage you today. I just want to encourage you. Since the bad stuff has been going on over there in Lebanon, I'm sure you've all heard of the exploding devices that have injured so many people and killed quite a few as well. And now the Israeli army or military is their Air Force is going into southern Lebanon. And, there's so many things happening in the world. It's really hard to keep up on them, but I just want to do a shout out for a couple of people on the Discord channel, Maranatha Amen, whose other name is Laura, and Brother Dave, who do a lot of the breaking news and the updates and executive summaries for what's going on in the world. And honestly, I've said this before and I'll keep saying it. If you are in a news desert where you don't get any news, you don't really know what's going on in the world, please join Discord, because we've got a lot available to everybody, stuff that you're not going to find out in other places. So the other thing that I just want to mention is that these thumb drives that are available that have my videos and the timelines and show notes, and I think even the Shepherd's Heart live streams that we do on Tuesday nights, Tom and me, those are available for you to have on just a little thumb drive. And if you've gotten the old one that's only 64, I guess, gigabytes, whatever it is, you need to get the 128. So here's the deal, though. You have to include your address and some money. Okay, so we don't make any money on this. Nobody is making any money on this. This is strictly kind of break even and actually go in the hole kind of thing. And Brother Ken is very diligent to mail these things out. The other thing I want to say is that post offices are not as quick to get things out as they used to be, especially with mail-in votes here in the United States, and now with the exploding things that are happening in other countries. And we're just, I guess there's a huge shipment of the next iPhone that's coming, going to be landing here in the States, and that's going to be out pretty soon. And I am not sure how comfortable people feel with new cell phones and all of that. So anyway, just be patient. Your thumb drives will get to you in due time. And, so there you go. Let me see what else I have I want to share. Oh, yeah. Brother Richard, who does the Media Fire, and the links for all these things are below the videos in the description box of all my videos. And I'll be putting it up underneath this video once it's archived in the live section. And if you go to Media Fire, you'll find a little place where it says 128 gigabyte drive, whatever, and you can download it yourself. Okay, so anyway. And something else that's super exciting, and Brother Reiner, who lives in the Netherlands, he's the brother who actually did the spreadsheet, the Excel spreadsheet for my timeline. I mean, it took him like days and days to do this. And he is actually, we've got a Telegram channel now. He's doing that. So I don't have any control over the Telegram channel, but he's just uploading my videos. So if you want to share stuff on Telegram, as far as my videos and all of that, not even sure how all that works. Yeah, we're on Telegram now. So that's pretty cool. And obviously Discord, join up with Discord. Okay, so that's enough of the, thanks, Brew, for sharing that link there for the Telegram account. So, I just feel so blessed. I'm just a regular person, and, people are just coming alongside and doing all these, God is just laying it on people's hearts. It's just wonderful. But be in prayer for Brother Reiner. He's having a kind of a serious medical procedure that's being done, and it's going to require a number of weeks of recuperation. So if you'd be in prayer for him, I'm sure he would really appreciate it. Okay, so I just want to talk about Jesus today. And Jesus is coming back. Okay, this is the exciting thing. I know a lot of people are waiting for the rapture, waiting for the change, and that's good, but Jesus is coming back, and Jesus is coming back sooner than most of us really have it in our brains that he's coming back. So here's the deal. When Jesus comes back, he's actually like to change us from mortal to immortal before, in that 8 days before we're raptured. He's actually coming to the earth. I know this is going contrary to popular teaching out there that Jesus only comes to the clouds and then, raptures people and then goes up. Or if you're a post-trib person, it'll be all the way at the end, or it'll be, if you're pre-wrath, it'll be almost to the end. But Jesus is actually coming a lot sooner than we really, than we really understand. That if we're raptured this fall, Jesus is actually going to set foot on the earth this fall. Okay, this is the really mind-blowing thing about it. And you go, okay, Brenda, where do you get that? Well, I get it from the book of Revelation. Okay, and I also get it from 1 Thessalonians 4, where it says that the Lord will descend with a shout, with the cry of the archangel and the trumpet of God. Okay, and the dead in Christ rise. Remember, they're gonna be resurrected into their immortal bodies in heaven. Their spirits are going to be put into a body in heaven. So I just want to read the passage that's in Revelation. And, I just thank God for, unveiling his word and revealing things to us so that we can know the things that are going to happen. And I just want to read the introduction to the book of Revelation, because it's really easy to read Revelation and just be freaked out and be scared and all of that. But it's it's meant to be good news if you're a believer. So Revelation 1 verse 3, blessed is he who reads aloud the words of this prophecy. Blessed are those who hear and who keep or guard what is written therein, for the time is near. There's a blessing on people who read and who guard the testimony and who basically who understand it. If you can understand or you have insight into this, what's written here in this prophecy, you're going to be blessed. Now, here's the thing, and this is something Tom and I talk about a lot, that if we weren't Christians, if we didn't know what is going to be happening in the near future, if we couldn't see this a little bit ahead of time, we'd be so freaked out right now. We'd be looking at what's going on in the world and wondering how we are going to survive this. Okay, how would we possibly survive this with basically the whole world order is changing. The whole thing is just going to change in just, a very, very, very short period of time. Okay. And I don't know if I didn't know what I know now, I don't know how I would be holding up, honestly. So, I just feel so blessed. And I'm so blessed to have the fellowship of you all here who are also looking forward to the coming of the Lord. This is so incredible, so incredible. Let's look at it. Revelation 10. Then I saw another mighty angel coming down from heaven wrapped in a cloud. Okay, this mighty angel, this is Jesus. Okay, and like I've said before, if you're an angel in the book of Revelation, an angel just is a job description. It just says that you're going to deliver a message, or basically that's it. You're a messenger from somebody. Okay, and that's how the word is used in both the Hebrew and in the Greek. Angelos and I think Malak is the Hebrew word. And it doesn't mean that you're a spirit being. It just means you're someone who's going to deliver a message. Okay, so this angel in Revelation chapter 10, when we read the description about him, this is Christ. This is Jesus. Okay, and Jesus is so involved in all the things that are going to be happening during the end times. This typical story that we've been given, and really it's a kind of a fairy tale. This, yes, the Christ, the bridegroom, is going to come and he's going to get his bride, and there's going to be this 7-year wedding supper of the Lamb. That is not what's happening. Revelation does not describe that in the slightest. This is all tradition. It's not biblical. What's biblical is Jesus is coming to the earth, and he's got a message here. He's going to be delivering a message. Actually, the message is the little scroll, okay, that he's going to be giving to John. And he is this mighty angel, and he is not stopping in the clouds. He's not stopping in the clouds. He's going to come all the way down to the earth, all the way down. And here's what it says about him. He's wrapped in a cloud. He's wrapped in a cloud. Now, in Revelation, you see clouds a lot, and you see clouds with relation to Jesus. In Revelation chapter 1, we read that Jesus is coming. I think it's with the clouds. Let's find it here. It's Revelation. Be happy to help to get in chapter 1. Yeah, verse 7. Behold, he's coming with the clouds, and every eye will see him. So right away in chapter 1, we actually have a piece of the puzzle that belongs to the end. Christ is coming with the clouds, and every eye will see him. In Revelation 14:14, he's coming on the clouds. Okay. And in Revelation 10, he's coming wrapped in a cloud. So what's the difference here? When he's wrapped in a cloud, what that means is basically he's coming incognito. He's coming incognito. So not everybody is going to see him, but you know what? I think everybody's going to hear him, because it says here that he set his right foot on the sea and his left foot on the land. He called out with a loud voice like a lion roaring. So we may not actually see Jesus with our physical eyes, but we're going to hear him, and he's going to be here on the earth. He's going to be here on the earth. Do you realize that this could just be days or weeks away when Jesus returns to the earth and he's coming back? He's going to resurrect the dead and change the living. Okay. He's going to seal the 144,000. Okay. And then we're going to be caught up to God and to his throne as the 24 elders. And I was thinking about that today. I was thinking about Jesus, the same Jesus that I pray to, this Jesus that I've, heard Bible stories about all my life. This same Jesus is coming back, and he's going to change you in conjunction with the Holy Spirit. You're going to get your immortal body. You're going to be changed. The dead are going to be resurrected. Okay, Jesus is coming back. And he's not just coming back at the end to the Mount of Olives. Okay. And he isn't even that the Mount of Olives thing is actually at the time of the abomination. That isn't even at the end. Okay. It's not just at the end. Okay. And he's coming back soon. And here's what I'm finding is that the darker things get out there, the worse they get, especially in Israel. And the focus of the world is on Israel. And the prophet said that that Jerusalem would become a cup of trembling and a heavy stone. That Jerusalem, okay, the focal point over there in Israel, okay, over there in Israel, this teeny tiny little country that has an oversized footprint in the world. It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. It's prophetic. It's prophecy. And God's word, his prophetic word, is going to be fulfilled. And it's going to be fulfilled in our lifetime. Okay. And it could be in a matter of weeks. This is so incredible. This is so amazing. Um, you know, so I just wanted to share some good news. I did get a little comment that I should start out my videos with a little more happy talk, positive stuff, because what I've been sharing is stuff that's been so heavy. It's been, there's going to be millions of people dying. Okay. There's going to be a lot of wars. There's going to be nuclear war. There's going to be, you know, famines. There's going to be peace taken from the earth, pestilence, economic collapse, all this stuff. This is all really bad stuff that's going to be happening. But as things get darker and darker and darker, things are getting lighter and lighter and brighter for each one of us who knows Jesus and loves him. These are wonderful days for us. And I know this is the problem, though. Well, we got a couple of problems. One is it's hard to feel joy, or it feels wrong in some way to feel joy when so many people are hurting, when there's so much pain and sorrow and darkness in the world. That's hard. And it's hard to see that. And, my heart breaks for all the suffering that I see going on in the world. And I really have to monitor how much I watch, because I do have a kind of a tender heart, and it bothers me. And I know it bothers a lot of you too. But on the other hand, I'm looking at this and going, these are the kinds of things that I would expect to see. This is the stuff that I've been waiting to see. I knew it was going to get bad. It had to get bad before we could be out of here. And it had to get bad in Israel. It hasn't gotten as bad as it's going to get for the nation of Israel. And it's going to get worse. But all of this is the setup for the things that are coming. And it's going to play out really fast. It's going to play out really fast. And things have to get bad before we're gone. The other problem that we have is, and I think someone left a comment to this effect in the chat here, is that it's really hard to just live a normal, everyday kind of life. I go to the store, or I'm out I was out with a couple of friends of mine yesterday for a belated birthday celebration. We were at a restaurant, very nice place, and looking around at all these people, and I go, do any of these people know what the world is going to be like in a few months? Do they have any comprehension? No, they're just having a nice lunch and having a good visit, and they have no idea. And part of the reason why I may get a little animated about the bad things is because I just look at the world, I look at the people, especially here in the States, here in the United States, and I go, people are really asleep. And even people in the church are really asleep. Your rank and file Christian is, they have no idea. And I feel like someone, who's on the wall there and watching for what's happening, and I see the hordes coming, and I like, wake up, everybody, wake up, because we're at the door. We're here. And that's one of the things that I really like about my subscribers, about all the people over there on Discord, is even though we may not agree with everything about the end times, at least we're awake enough to know that things are happening and that Jesus is coming. Jesus is coming. He's coming for you. He's coming for me. And this is this is so amazing. Now, here's the thing too. I know that a lot of Christians are still asleep, and I'm reading the chat here, and Karen says that even in her own family, even in my own family, I got people in my own family who, think I'm a crazy person, actually, or, not crazy in every way, but kind of fanatical, maybe, going overboard on this Jesus stuff and this second coming stuff and this rapture stuff. And why are you so focused on Revelation? How can you find so much stuff in there to talk about after 7 years or whatever it's been? So it's because God is giving revelation. He's giving revelation to his saints in the last days. And here's the thing, that I think there's going to be a very, very short window of opportunity, very small window of opportunity, where people are going to be awakened from their slumber. Christians, I'm talking about Christians, and maybe even people in the world. They're going to be awakened from their slumber. They're going to come asking you some questions. There's going to be an event, some event. And I haven't heard this as a thus saith the Lord or anything like that, but you know how you just have some spirit feeling in your spirit that I think there's going to come a moment where I'm going to have an opportunity to say something to people who up until this point in time, excuse me, haven't been willing to listen. I think there's going to be a moment, and I'm really looking forward to that. And it feels like it's getting closer. So I also wanted to talk about the Feast of Trumpets that's coming up on October 2nd. And there are some, I the Feast of Trumpets. This is October 2nd. Yeah, thank you. And there's going to be a annular solar eclipse, which means that a little bit of light from the sun is going to shine around the moon, because the moon is a little bit smaller than the sun, so it won't cover it completely. And this eclipse is going to be visible in the southern hemisphere, so parts of Chile and Argentina. And it's also going to go over Easter Island. Very interesting, with all those statues there, standing very stoically. And I think it's kind of weird, all these statues on Easter Island. And of course, we don't celebrate Easter, but we do celebrate the resurrection. So interesting. Now, a lot of people and believe that the Feast of Trumpets is the feast day when people are going to be raptured. They believe that people are going to be raptured on a day and hour nobody knows, and because we don't know exactly when the sliver, the new moon will be sighted, that somehow or another the Feast of Trumpets is the day of the rapture. Now, that's tradition again, but the Feast of Trumpets is about it's actually Yom Teruah. Okay, Yom Teruah. It's the day, Yom, of shouting, Teruah, or the sound of a shout. Okay, and remember, John the Baptist was the voice of one shouting in the wilderness, prepare the way of the Lord. He was the fulfillment of the Feast of Trumpets, the day of shouting in the Old Testament. Okay, when he came on the Feast of Trumpets, Yom Teruah, he appeared that day to as the voice of one crying in the wilderness. And in the scriptures, the psalmist said, the heavens are declaring the glory of God. And there were two other teruahs, shoutings from the heavens, which one of them was the Star of Bethlehem, which appeared over the Feast of Trumpets, the day of shouting when the heavens were shouting. And the other one, and this was before Jesus was born. And in 2017, over the Feast of Trumpets, on that very last day, the Revelation 12 sign was shouting that we're in the book of Revelation. Here we are. We're at the end times. We are here. You can put a date beside that in your Bible. Revelation 12, 1 and 2, the 23rd of September in 2017. So is the rapture on Rosh Hashanah? No, no. All that is the warning or the announcement of what's coming. Okay, so here's the thing. It's very possible that over the Feast of Trumpets this year, Yom Teruah, the day of shouting, there may be an event that qualifies or as a shout of some kind, as a warning shout. And really, that is all that day is meant to do. It's an announcement, it's a proclamation, it's a shout of something that's about to happen. And I wouldn't be surprised at all if there was some event that took place on October 2nd and 3rd of this year, but it's not the rapture and it's not the change. Okay, so I'm just looking at questions here, going by the side here on the chat. Sherry, how do you say your name? I don't, Miss Sherry-Annie, Sherry-Ann. I'm terrible with these names. It's awful. Will we hear Jesus physically when he shouts, or will we hear it in our spirit? I think we're going to hear it physically, and this is why. Remember when in the Bible with Daniel, I think it's in probably Daniel 10. I'm not really sure. Daniel. Let me look at it. It's always a good idea to find the passage so you can get it right. Ezekiel, Daniel. Yeah, Daniel 10. And this is Daniel, and Daniel 10, verse 5. I lifted up my eyes and looked, and behold, a man clothed in linen. And we're going to see here that this sounds a lot like Jesus from Revelation 1 and actually Revelation 10. His body was like beryl, whose loins were girded with the gold of Uphaz, his body like beryl, his face like the appearance of lightning, his eyes like flaming torches, his arms and legs like the gleam of burnished bronze, and the sound of his words like the noise of a multitude. And I, Daniel, alone saw the vision, for the men who were with me did not see the vision, but a great trembling fell upon them, and they fled to hide themselves. So Daniel saw the vision, but it's very possible that that the people who were with him could hear the sound of his words was like the sound of a multitude. And that there had to be a reason why they started to tremble. If they didn't see the vision, it's possible that they may have heard it. So the other place I want to look at is Acts um, chapter 9. I think it's 9. 9. And this is the conversion of Saul to Paul. And start at verse 3. Now he journeyed, he approached Damascus, and suddenly a light from heaven flashed about him, and he fell to the ground, and he heard a voice saying to him, Saul, Saul, why do you persecute me? And he said, Who are you, Lord? And he said, I am Jesus, whom you're persecuting. But rise and enter the city, and you'll be told what you're to do. And the men who were traveling with him stood speechless, hearing the voice, but seeing no one. Now, to me, this is really amazing. If the voice of Jesus sounds like the roar of a lion or thunder or the voice of an archangel, the voice of the trumpet of God, okay, if there is this sound that people hear, I think everybody is going to hear it. I think everybody is going to hear it when Jesus comes back. I don't think they're going to know what they heard, but we're going to know what we heard. And when that voice sounds and all of a sudden we're changed, that'll be so cool. Oh man, that'll be so amazing. And we'll have opportunity to share what just happened. Who made that sound and what had happened. Okay, this is so amazing. And can't wait. So, question here from Doreen. Will all believers leave or only the ones who are looking for the trumpet? All believers will not leave. Okay, not everybody's going to leave. The people who persevere, the people who are trusting in Jesus and are faithful, they're the ones who are going to be changed. Okay, and people, there's a crown awaiting for people who love his appearing. So that plays into there somehow or another. But not every believer is going to leave. Jesus is not rapturing the church. Okay. He's not rapturing the bride. It's not a singular event. And it's not just, this one group that goes. There's groups of sons that enter into the heavenly temple, groups of priests, okay, the 24 elders, the 144,000 fifth seal martyrs, that group who are alive and remain until the coming of the Lord that we see in Revelation 15, who have just appeared. So, yeah, not everybody is going to go all at once. We're going to go in our turn. Okay, so QAM says, do I think it's unrighteous to prep financially and physically at this time, knowing where to wait on the Lord? Here's my thinking about that. If God has put it on your heart to store up some things, now you may not be the person who actually uses this stuff. It may be left for believers who come after us. And I think it's just fine. So this is where we all need to have our, personal walk with the Lord so we can follow his leading. And, if he leads you to store up things, especially, I think Bibles are a good one because those are going to be outlawed. It's going to be considered hate speech to own a Bible, to have the Bible app on your phone or to, anything like that. And actually in China right now, they're translating the Bible to be Chinese so that it actually fits in with the Chinese mentality. So Bibles are a good thing to store up for people, as in like hard copies, and storing up food, water, medicine, stuff like that. I think is if God is laying it on your heart, you should definitely do that. So okay. All right, Lynn, I'll answer your question and then I'll go to some of the questions that I got earlier. because I think we'll have time to answer questions. So, will the rapture be catastrophic or like one working and one stays and one leaves? Okay, so I think you're referring to the passage in Matthew 24 where it talks about the days of Noah. One will be taken and one will be left. That is actually, I think, referring, well, let's read it. I know a lot of people have applied that to the rapture, but it's not a rapture passage, at least not to my mind. Okay, it's um, Matthew 24, and it's in the context of the days of Noah. Now, remember, the days of Noah are going to take place after the fifth trumpet, when all the fallen entities who were here before the flood come back. Okay, the days of Noah, when those fallen sons of God, the fallen angels, were kind of running the show here, along with the Nephilim, their giant sons, they're going to be back. That's the days of Noah. Okay. And during the days of Noah, there was only 8 people who survived that. But here it says that in the days before the flood, they were eating and drinking, marrying and giving in marriage until the day when Noah entered the ark. And they did not know until the flood came and swept them all away. So will be the coming of the Son of Man. And remember, the coming of the Son of Man is after the abomination of desolation, but before his actual visible return, or it can be at his visible return too. But it says, then 2 men will be in the field, one is taken and one is left. 2 women will be grinding at the mill, one is taken, one is left. Watch therefore, for you do not know on what day your Lord is coming. Now, I think the idea here is that during the days of Noah, only 8 people survived. But in this time, at the coming of the Lord, it's like 50-50. Someone will be taken in judgment with the flood, and someone will be left. So not everybody is going to die. Okay, so there's going to be, like, once you get to, however many people are still here at that point in time, there's a 50% survival rate. That's how I look at that. So Take Me Jesus says, eating and drinking, marrying during the end of the trip. Yeah, these are the people. Okay, remember, almost all believers are going to be gone. Almost all mortal people are going to be dead. There's going to be some left. Okay, but the people who are eating and drinking, marrying and giving marriage are the beast, the false prophet, anyone who takes the mark of the beast, people who worship the beast or the image of the beast. And remember, the image of the beast is not a statue. It's not an idol. It's the fallen equivalent of basically glorified believers. Okay. And these are the people who think now that they won and they own the planet, that they own the earth, because all of God's people are gone and other people are dead. And there's a remnant of people left. The remnant of Israel is in the wilderness. They're being protected. And there are other people who are surviving because they can't all be killed all at one time over this really short period of time. And these are the people who, entities. Okay, remember, all the fallen entities are on the earth. This is how Jesus and God are winning this, how they're going to take the earth back. They're going to lull and all his minions, all the fallen angels, all the angels from the pit, into thinking they acquired the earth. And when nothing happens, oh, you can hear my dog, the UPS guy is here, or FedEx or somebody. Sorry for the barking. They're going to think that they got it. It's theirs. Okay, days of Noah, all these fallen ones who, back in the past wanted to control the earth. Well, they're back and they are going to do it. And there's going to come a point in time where they get lazy, I suppose. They think they've got it. The earth is theirs. And they're going to be doing their thing until one day when all of a sudden it's the 6th seal. The sun goes dark, the moon turns to blood, and the sign of the Son of Man appears in heaven. The sky rolls back like a scroll, and everybody sees the Lamb and God on his throne. The great day of their wrath has come, and who can stand? And they go into their bunkers. And during the bowls, they have to be lured out. Okay, the three foul spirits that come out of the mouth of the beast and the dragon and the false prophet go out, and they deceive. They do these miraculous signs to deceive these people into gathering at Armageddon against the Lord. These guys are scared, and they are going into hiding because they thought they got the earth, but they didn't. Okay, so that's the answer, and really, it's a much more exciting answer than the one that's out there. So okay, everybody asks this question about the pets. What happens to our pets at the rapture? Well, let me tell you this. Okay, you've got 7 days before you're raptured on the 8th day, and there's going to be some kind of provision you can make for your pet. Okay, it's not like what the left behind people or pre-trib rapture people want you to think, is that all of a sudden you're just whoosh gone and you've got your clothes left on the floor. That's not how it's going to happen. You're going to all of a sudden in an instant be changed. But if you're a pilot and you're changed and you're flying a plane, well, now you're going to fly it better than you flew it before. Okay, because you didn't evaporate into thin air. You're still there. Okay, you're still there with your dog or your kitty or your little ones. There's no abandoning anybody. Okay, there's no car crashes because Christians are all of a sudden changed. That's not how this works. Okay, so that isn't how God does things either. He's not going to cause all planes to drop out of the sky and cars to crash that isn't the thing. That isn't how this is going to happen at all. And so there's going to be opportunity, and you'll know what to do with your pet. You'll know what's going to be happening with it. So you don't need to worry about it, and you don't need to worry about your kids either, because you're going to find out how they're going to be cared for. Chances are they're going to be coming with you. If you're a believer, they're coming with you. You don't have to worry about that. So, okay. So, let me go to some of the questions that were at the very beginning of this chat. This one's kind of off topic, but I'll go ahead and see if I can answer it. And I'm sorry I didn't write your name down. I'm sorry about that. So, generational curses, are they a thing? Are they in existence? And I have kind of mixed thoughts about this, because I know that in the scripture, it talks about the iniquities of the fathers being visited to the 3rd and 4th generations. Wouldn't call that a curse, really. It's not a curse. And I think what God is saying is that when you grow up in a family that has a certain kind of dysfunction, you're going to probably end up with the same dysfunction. And it's going to take a long time. It can take generations to weed that out of your family line. And when Jesus answered the questions that the disciples had in John 9 about the man who was born blind, who sinned? Was it this man who sinned that he's blind, or was it his parents? And what Jesus said is that there wasn't anybody, this blindness did not come as a result of somebody's sin. It came about for the glory of God. So as far as, I know that a lot of the stuff that happened to our ancestors, like to my great grandparents, like whose pictures are back there, my great grandma and great grandpa who came over from Norway, back in the late 1800s. They're things that happened to them. Some of those things I'm sure I carry. And, it's just the way it is. In a fallen world, we're going to carry some of the things. It may even be genetically, they may be hardwired into us, but we're not under a curse. There is no generational curse. Okay. And, and anytime we want to be done with some of these things that sort of have attached themselves to us or a part of us, the Holy Spirit is well able to help us find deliverance. That's one of the reasons he came, why we're given the Spirit, is to deliver us, to save us. Okay. And that is something that we can ask the Spirit to help us with these things that have, clung to us and tripped us up over our lifetime. Okay, Janet Louise says, I missed it. How will we know how we have an immortal body? Well, because all of a sudden, several things will happen. Let's just talk about our immortal bodies. And I've done a lot of videos on immortality, mortality, glorification. And if you just use some of these keywords, resurrection, go to my channel, and there's a search engine where you can search my channel and find videos about this stuff. You'll get the big picture of it. But here's the thing. We are living in a body of death. That's what Paul says. Who will deliver me from this body of death? So we know we're living in a body of death. All you have to do is look in the mirror, and as you get older, you see all these wrinkles and things that didn't used to be there. You see gray hair, you feel the aches and pains, you have things have to be taken out, things that are falling apart, so on and so forth. I mean, we know that we have we're under our bodies are under a curse. Okay, our bodies have the kiss of death. Okay, from the moment we're born, we're dying. And here's the other thing that people don't realize, that emotions like fear, anger, anxiety, depression, a lot of these things are actually, become a part of our body, as, our adrenals and our, different glands and stuff. We think about something, and then all of a sudden we get the rush of adrenaline. And these are all, misfires, really, that our body causes. We have misfires. And Denise D. Garcia, stage 4. I'm assuming stage 4 cancer. I am so sorry. Would you, different people in the chat there, would you mind praying for our sister? She needs encouragement. She needs to be blessed, and she's going to need a healing too. So all those negative emotions that we feel, they actually a lot of times are coming from our body. All right. Thank you for everybody who's praying. Really appreciate it. When we are changed, all of a sudden, for the first time in our lives, we'll have no fear, no anxiety, no depression, no anger, no jealousy. All of these emotions are not going to be there anymore. You'll have perfect peace. You'll feel loved, completely loved and accepted. And for many, many people out there, many of us, it will be for the first time in our life, okay, where you feel totally, completely loved and accepted. Okay. This is what we're looking for. I know a lot of people talk about, well, it would be great to have a lobster steak dinner in heaven, all of that. Honestly, I'm looking forward to feeling whole as a person, to feeling whole, and not just physically whole, but emotionally whole, and, intellectually whole, mentally whole. That's what I'm looking forward to, being the person that God has called me to be the real person that I've been called to be. Okay. And for all of you out there, who are watching this, you're going to be completely whole, a whole person, not just physically, but in every way. And you will know it. Honestly, you're going to know it. And then you're going to look and you're going to go, wow, no age spots. Isn't that awesome? If you've had diseases or you've been crippled or you're blind or you're deaf, all of those faculties will come back. You will be not come back. They're going to be you're going to be immortal. You're going to have a body that's been prepared for you. And, that's something that it's not like it's going to be a mystery. And people who are around you, they're going to see the change. And, some of them may freak out. So that's something that we can really look forward to. And, this year could be our year. This year could be our year. All right. So that's really something incredible and awesome that we can look forward to. All right. So here's the mossy egg asked the question: How will we know our assignments after that change? What's that going to look like, you think? Trying not to have any anxiety. Well, you won't have any anxiety when it happens. And in fact, I think you'll know exactly. We don't need to know right now. We don't need to know what we're going to be doing then. And here's the thing. We all need to trust that God has been leading us all this way. He's been leading us, and we're being prepared, and we'll continue to be prepared for the day. So when we actually arrive there, we're going to have perfect confidence in what we're supposed to do. We'll know exactly what to do, how to do it. And the parts that we don't know will be told. Maranatha, amen. Are you seeing Ezekiel 38 come to pass anytime? What are we waiting for? Well, we're waiting for that alliance of nations to come down onto the northern mountains of Israel. And one of the things that kind of makes me think this is going to be happening is the fact that there's kind of nothing happening with regard to Israel, Iran, and Turkey. They're not really like doing anything right now. Like all these red lines that if Putin is Gog, and that's what I'm thinking right now. It might change my mind later on. He's people go all these red lines, but nothing's happening. And with Iran, they haven't retaliated at Israel for the things that Israel has done and is doing now. And a lot of people go, well, these guys, they're just a lot of hot air. They're a lot of bluster. Nothing is going to come of this. Actually, there is a lot of behind the scenes maneuvering. There are a lot of very, very big planes from Russia landing in Iran. A lot. And granted, they're taking Iranian drones back to Russia or wherever, but they're dropping things off too. And the leaders in Iran have flown to Moscow and made personal visits there. And I think that there is a lot of behind the scenes maneuvering and agreements and things that are happening, stuff going on that it's not front page news, and they don't want it to be. But there'll come a day when all of the stuff that's been going on behind the scenes is going to come out into the front and center, and we'll know about it. So I think it's coming. So Alexis, Real Talk says, I'm Slovakian. Putin is losing patience slowly, but it's coming. I think USA election is the thing that decides when. And I think that that's very possible if there is an election. Yeah, not even sure. that there will be one. So, yeah. And there's been so much poking the bear. Putin has warned NATO. So there's, everything is everything that I would expect to see happening in the lead up to this stuff is what I'm seeing. So I really do think that this year is our year. And as every day goes by and we see amplification of not just rhetoric or people talking, but people doing, countries doing things militarily, and the threats that people are making countries one to another. Um, well, to me, that's all the stuff that I'm looking for. So there you have it. Betty Pond has asked a couple of questions. For those Christians who wouldn't even want to give the 7 days of transformation a hearing, I can't imagine them being part of the first group. Your thoughts? Well, I think that a lot of people who don't believe that or understand that or know that will still be going. Even people who may not believe in rapture or may not believe, a pre-seal rapture. There's still people who love Jesus and have been faithful to him and persevering. And it's not that this stuff or you're perfectly educated about it, thank God. I think they can be a part of that group. And like I said, I think there's going to be a window of time where people are going to reevaluate some of their thinking. And the second question was about the pager explosions. How many Christians have Bible app on their phone? That's a way to identify us. Well, yeah. You know what? There's already been a profile made of you and me. They know about that. So, yeah, you've already been identified, especially in the spiritual realms. So, Susie says, I know you're busy, Brenda, but can you try to do more of these the closer we get? Yeah, I am trying to do more of these videos, live streams, as well as Bible study videos. I think they're important. And I'm also doing an interview tomorrow, Friday, with Rose Youssef. And she'll be interviewing me in the morning and then uploading the interview at 3 p.m. My time, I think. So yeah, I think that's 1 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. So if you want to be notified of that, go over to Rose Youssef's channel, her YouTube channel, and I think I left the link in underneath one of the comments over there in the community post that I did. So you can find Rose's channel, you can subscribe, and then you will be notified when that video goes live. So we're going to be talking about the topic is, are we in the book of Revelation? So, and I love Rose Youssef. She's in Nigeria, and her husband is a gifted evangelist, and they do so much for so many people over there. They've led hundreds and thousands of people to the Lord. So I just really appreciate the ministry that she has. It's pretty amazing. Okay, so moving on. Excuse me. I think that last question might have been from Berean about the pager explosions. And then she has a second question. When we are changed, there's going to be pandemonium. The witnessing and testimony will be undeniable. This is when the two realms will converge. And, I think that is absolutely true. This is what the testimony of Jesus is. Okay. The testimony of Jesus is the spirit of the testimony of Jesus is the spirit of prophecy. The book of Revelation, this testimony that these things are true, that Revelation is unfolding, that Jesus is coming back. This will all of a sudden hit home for people in a way that they're not good. It's like amazing. It's unbelievable. And it's this testimony that's the powers that be are going to try to squelch this message. Okay. And I think communications are going to be shut down when all this happens. I think people are not going to be able to call one another. I think the powers that be don't want this message getting out. Satan does not want people knowing that this is something that's happening. That's why, the grid will go down, or there'll be some event that takes place that makes it so people cannot talk but to one another. But here's the thing, for 7 days, we can walk through walls and be wherever we need to be. Okay. We can be wherever we need to be. And we don't need to get on the phone to talk to somebody. We don't need to get on the internet to talk to somebody. Okay. But I mean, we can just be there. So, they're not going to be able to shut us down. Here's the thing though, once we're gone and the truth is out there, they're going to try to shut that down as quickly as possible. And that's why about 5 months after we're gone, there's going to be this 10 days of persecution of people who hold to this testimony that Jesus wins. People get resurrection, immortal bodies. This is true. The Bible is true. Revelation is true. Anybody who holds to the testimony of Jesus, and I'm not just talking about the plan of salvation here, I'm talking about the testimony, they're going to be martyred. Okay. And, good for them. They are going to have a place in the heavenly temple. That's where they're going to be for the duration of the millennium. So, part of our problem in the Western world is that we've become atheists. We've become non-spiritual people. We don't believe in the spiritual realm. We don't believe in it. People in churches don't believe in it. In fact, there's really only one kind of spiritual experience most people can relate to as Christians, and that's being born again. And, and I think that's partly why some churches give an invitation every week at church, where they're supposed to be mostly all Christians there, is because that is the spiritual experience that they can relate to. Okay. Other people may have an experience of, being infilled with the Holy Spirit and being given the gift of tongues or something like that, some other kind of infilling. And even then, people try to recreate that experience over and over and over again. But we're meant to, as we say on the Shepherd's Heart on Tuesday nights, as Christians, we're meant to walk on water. This is how we are meant to live our Christian lives. It's a supernatural life. Every day we're meant to not literally walk on water, but we're meant to live with with a supernatural understanding and a supernatural worldview that makes all these things possible. These are things that are true. Right? So, yeah, I think that's one of the things that Satan really did a good job of, is removing the supernatural spiritual worldview away from Europe. So Christianity in Europe is all but dead in most places. A lot of churches are turning into mosques and so on. And even where there are churches, the churches are basically dead. Okay. So, yeah, pretty much cold water was poured on Christianity, but it's not dead. Okay. There are believers everywhere. There are true believing people everywhere. They may be few and far between, but they're there. They're everywhere. Okay. You can't put out the light. They are in communist countries. They are in Arab countries, in Muslim countries. They're in places that are extremely dark. Believers are everywhere. So praise God. Praise God for that. Okay, so let me see if I got any other questions here. Paul Goddard asks, when do I think we'll see the Bema judgment seat of Christ? When will that be? Well, Um, I don't really know exactly for sure. And I know for sure one place where there's going to be the judgment for rewards, and that's written in Revelation chapter 11. And I'll go there. And it's at the seventh trumpet, which that is going to actually take place, I believe, over the Feast of Tabernacles after Jesus returns on the Day of Atonement. So this is what it says in verse 18. The nations raged, but thy wrath came. Okay, that's past tense. We know that the wrath of God is over by this point in time. The time for the dead to be judged, that is living believers to be judged, not all the dead. Okay, because there's a second time when people are resurrected. Remember, at the great white throne judgment. And for rewarding thy servants, the prophets and saints, and those who fear thy name, both small and great, and for destroying the destroyers of the earth. Okay, so verse 18 talks about rewarding uh, God's servants, the prophets and saints. Okay, so it may be that we'll have to wait for our reward until the seventh trumpet, which that's fine. It may be that as we end up, show up in heaven, as we go there, as our group arrives, that we may receive our rewards as we arrive. Not really sure how that works. So, anyway, yeah, that they are coming. We know we're going to get them, and one time for that is the seventh trumpet, and there may be other times as well. So, Lolly Snyder, who wrote in all caps, which really helps me to see the questions, asks this: do you think we will be able to sideways rapture after our change, since communication may be altered? Absolutely. We're going to be able to do what both Jesus and Philip did. Remember Philip with the Ethiopian eunuch, how after he baptized the Ethiopian eunuch, he was caught up. The Spirit caught him up and he found himself in another place, maybe Azotus. I'm not really sure. But that was possible even without an immortal body. Okay. Philip did that without an immortal body. So if he could do it without one, I'm sure we'll be able to do one with one. So Zach asks, have I seen Daniel Larimer's work, who predicts October 9th rapture? Actually, I have followed some of his videos in the past. He believes in a 7-year tribulation, which always kind of like, phooey. I have seen some of his stuff. I haven't seen the latest video he did. I did look at parts of it, just sort of fast forward through it to see kind of where he was going with it. And I know he does a lot of interesting things with what's going on in the heavens. But okay, so here's the thing. There may be things going on in the stars, but I'm actually more interested in what's going on here. And the book of Revelation actually tells us how things are going to play out on the earth. And that's the part that I'm more interested in. So I will watch it. It's kind of a long video, and I have, believe it or not, people actually recommend a lot of videos to me. Could you watch this or could you watch that? As well as getting a lot of emails and a lot of comments in the comments section. And we are on Discord. So people contact me a lot. So some videos I can watch and some I can't. And, I'll try to watch that one. So yeah, it's interesting that he has October 29th. What's really more interesting to me is how he places rapture in 2024. That to me is interesting. So I'm going to look forward to watching his video. So Bruce Matson asks, how can we tell if someone is an earth dweller? I think I don't know how often we come into contact with these people, earth dwellers / hybrids. I don't know about you, and I think some people are more sensitive than others. I've been kind of I have a spiritual sensitivity about places that I go, not so much about people I meet, because I don't meet a lot of people. I live on a farm and I don't get to town that often. And where we live, lots of just really nice people. But here's the thing. I've been I've been places where I felt fine on one side of the street, and I walked across the street, and all of a sudden I felt this spiritual weirdness. Okay. And I had that experience actually when I was in Israel in 1999. I walked across the street one day, one part of the street. I was like, great, everything was fine. I walked across the street and felt this immediate, immense spiritual oppression. It was wild. And I've been in other places where I felt it as well. And what's interesting is when Tom and I compare notes afterward, like this other place that we were at was in California. We both went, did you feel that when we went to stop and got gas back there? Did you feel anything weird there? And yeah, we both felt it. And in fact, my stepson actually got sick and he'd been fine all the rest of the way. So, I think the Spirit gives us discernment about this stuff. And if we need to have discernment about this, about like who's an earth dweller, or are we in an area that has a demonic or spiritual stronghold in that area? Um, if we need to know that, we'll be given discernment about that. That's all I can say, is that there isn't any, sort of rule for how you can discover this, except that we're given the Holy Spirit to help us know these things. So we need to be depending on him all the time for that. All right. So Melanie Potter. Hi, Brenda. In Revelation 12, do you think Satan is fighting a two-front war? First, we see him and his angels on earth before the woman so he could devour her child. Then we see him in heaven. Absolutely. I think he's fighting a two-front war. Well, I think what's happening is this. I think the war is going to actually start here on earth. And that's why he has his reinforcements coming here. Okay. By the time, right. So he'll have a third of his angels here on earth, but he's going to keep 2/3 of them in heaven, because he has to hold the fort there too. He can't relinquish any kind of control up there in heaven, or he can't hold both realms unless he's got angels in both places. But there's going to come a time when he is going to be going back up to heaven again, and there is going to be this war, war in heaven, and he's going to have to hold the fort up there as well, because he wants to be able to have access to both places, because he can do what he does, but he is not going to be strong enough to hold the fort up there. And eventually Michael is going to cast him and all the rest of those angels that are in heaven, and they will all be cast to the earth. So anyway, so there you go. Yeah. All right. So, Manuel, I see something in caps there. Hi, Brenda. Love your teaching. I lost my job this week. Oh, I'm really sorry. My wife and I are moving end of the month. I know God's plans are bigger than than me. My heart tells me to wait, but she has a job lined up for OC. I'm not sure what OC is, and I'm not really sure where you live either, Manuel. But here's what the Lord has told us to do: that we're to occupy till he comes. So what that means is you just keep living your life. You keep doing what you would normally do, and you don't have to worry about being in the wrong place at the wrong time. You just keep moving forward in faith. If your wife has a job lined up, hey, go for it. And if you're not supposed to do that, or God has other plans for you, he'll let you know. So, it's wonderful being a Christian, because we can just go through our life and live our life by faith, and God is going to come through for us. It's we have such confidence. It's just amazing. I think it's wonderful. Oh, sorry. I've got a little bit of allergies and my nose is like really itching right now. um, Lolly Snyder question: what do you think will be happening that will cause men's hearts to fail them? Well, the answer to that question. Okay. So the day that we are caught up is the day that peace will be taken from the earth. Okay. Now, I'm just going to give you a little example here of what that may look like here in the United States. There are people who come over the border, thousands of them, thousands and thousands, and they're just being flown to various US cities. Recently, uh, we found out about Haitian refugees that are here in the United States. And they're being shipped to just, small town USA, places in Ohio. We have no idea where they all are, except for all of a sudden they're just, showing up in these places. And here's the thing that kind of bothers me about Haitians. Okay. And not that all Haitians are this way, because we have lovely brothers and sisters in Haiti as well. But voodoo is a big thing. Anybody who engages in voodoo is going to have some form of demon possession. Okay, that you are an open door for demon possession. Right now, we've got gobs and, thousands of Haitians in the US. Why are they being imported? I think it's because they're demon possessed. So when peace is taken from the earth, these people are going to go wild. They lose their minds. They are going to be demon possessed. And I'm not even going to talk about the things that demon possessed people do. Here's the other thing. Every fallen angel that was on earth prior to the flood, who intermarried with human women, who taught people war, how to invent new forms of evil, wickedness, and violence, they are going to be on the earth. Can you imagine running into one of those guys? Okay. And they want your body. Okay. They want the bodies of not believers. Okay. They can't take anybody who's sealed, can't take them, but the bodies of people who are not believers, they want that body. In addition, there's going to be massive earthquakes. There isn't going to be hardly any food, and what food is there, you're going to have to work all day to get it. Pestilence, wild beasts attacking people, wars breaking out everywhere, including nuclear war, nuclear weapons. There's going to be stuff coming from space, burning up a third of the grass and trees. There's going to be volcanoes exploding, right? And I'm just naming a few of the things that are going to happen. People's hearts are going to be failing them for fear because they have not been told ahead of time, a lot of these people, what's going to be happening. It's mind-blowing what is going to be happening. And this is stuff that's going to be happening immediately after our rapture. Immediately, same day. Okay, first 4 trumpets, and maybe the 5th trumpet if we wait all the way till November to be caught up, and the first 4 seals of Revelation, and within 5 months, the 5th seal will open. I personally, I don't want to see one demon-possessed person. Imagine them running around everywhere. Yeah, and don't forget about the aliens, the alien deception. Yeah, that'll be here too. You know, and when people's hearts fail them for fear, it probably is a good thing. Get a heart attack, die. You're safer, better off being in the grave than you will be being on the earth. Susan Martin, will left behind believers ask why? And what would we answer? Yeah, they're going to ask why. And you're going to know the answer. You don't have to worry about what the answer is. You're going to know the answer. It's going to be the right answer for the person you're talking to. All right. So I hope that answers your question about men's hearts failing them for fear. You know, it's going to be incredible. Yeah. Okay. So Blessed Always says, good afternoon. Question: the 144,000. Revelation 14 says they were not defiled by women, for they are virgins. So how can this be both male and female? Okay, well, this is where it really is nice to understand Greek words. Okay, so the Greek word for virgin there actually means young woman. In the Bible, no man is ever called a virgin. Men are not virgins ever. They're any man who hasn't had sexual relations with anybody doesn't have a name. They're not called virgins ever. Okay, that word is young woman. Okay, so this is the part that the other part that people don't understand. Okay, it says they were not defiled by women, for they are young women. So that's the literal idea there. But they're not defiled by what women? What women in Revelation are the problem women? Okay, it's the harlot and her daughters and Jezebel. Those are the women of Revelation. The 144,000 cannot be a part of the harlot religious system, whether it's the harlot Christian religious system that's still going to be in existence after we're raptured. There will still be churches open. They're not the churches you want to go to. They need to stay away from them. Okay. In the Bible, harlotry, symbolically speaking, is when Israel played the harlot. Okay. So is it just men who played the harlot or just women who played the harlot? It's everybody. Anybody who goes after false gods or anybody who goes after the teachings of the harlot. Okay. And then it also says that they're not to eat meat offered to idols. Well, what does that mean? Well, you don't go and have fellowship with people who are fake believers. They're not real. Okay. They're engaged in some kind of harlot Christianity or harlot Judaism. They're not defiled by the teaching of those women. The women of Revelation are the scary women that you have to avoid. And the 144,000 are not going to defile themselves with those women. They're not going to play the harlot. They're going to stay spiritually pure, which is what spiritual virginity is. It's about remaining true to the Lord and not going after some other kind of thing. They're going to stay true to Jesus. So it's funny, people have a problem with the 144,000 being, they think they're only men. Okay. But they don't have a problem with the 24 elders being the church, which is comprised of men and women. The 124 elders, those are men. Okay. In Revelation 4 and 5 and other places. Okay. But we're talking symbolically here. It's all symbols. It's all symbolically speaking. The 24 elders, who are men, the kings and priests, are also going to be women. The 144,000 of Israel who don't defile themselves with women, they're also going to be men and women and children. Okay. So I hope that's clear for you. Ron Cowan, do you think that God will simply remove the natural fear of man from all the beasts of the field, like in Hitchcock's The Birds, or when domesticated dogs are loose to run in packs in the wild? Yeah, I think so. I think they're going to lose fear of people. Yeah. So Bruce Matson, when we become immortal, will we still have the Holy Spirit in us? Yes. I don't think he will ever leave us. And in fact, When we see the river of life that's flowing in the New Jerusalem, that's a picture of the Holy Spirit that is just going to flow to everybody. And I think the end goal is that the Spirit of God lives inside of really everybody in the end. I think that's the point for a lot of it. So Raven, Raven, Brenda, is the hour Babylon falls a literal hour? It is a literal hour. Yes, indeed it is. All time in Revelation. This was an amazing discovery that should have been obvious right from the start. It should be obvious. All time in Revelation is literal. If it's not literal, it's meaningless. It's meaningless. So, okay, Ginny. So, Brenda, am I saying that only the firstborn will escape this? Am I saying that the rest of believers will go through what you just described? Where do you get this teaching? Okay, so firstborn, by the way, is symbolic of anybody and who trusts in Jesus and perseveres. That's it. Okay. That is pretty much the goal. You're faithful to the Lord and you persevere. It's not about doing a bunch of good works or, you got to do this, that, or the other thing. It's not about, having a sinless life. It's about persevering with the Lord and being faithful. If you do that, you're a firstborn. Okay. If you do that, you're a firstborn. Okay. So the firstborn gets an inheritance. Now, there's an inheritance for others too. Okay, but it may not be ruling and reigning. Okay, the ultimate inheritance is to rule with Christ. That's the ultimate. But there are other inheritances that people can have. But here's the thing is if you're not a part, if you're currently right now, you're a lukewarm Christian. You don't really care about following the Lord. You're doing your own thing. You hope and pray Jesus isn't going to come back anytime soon because you got plans, and it may be that you're a person who really is, somebody who is using God's people for their own personal gain. They're not going to be raptured. Okay. So where I get this teaching is actually, it's all through the Bible. Okay, and I would encourage you to find my video, Cain, the Rejected Son. That is a good video. And I have a playlist where I talk about sons and the inheritance. And rather than thinking about the bride and the bridal feast and the wedding feast, everything is about sons, the firstborn, the inheritance. That is the deal. And we need to understand that. And it's actually from the book of Genesis all through until you get to Revelation. It's a theme that's developed throughout Scripture. Okay. And it's one of the most important and overlooked themes of the Bible. So, I really encourage you to find that video on Cain, the Rejected Son. And then there's the playlist that is about sons. And you'll see what all that means. And by the way, when the people who are left here after we leave, some of them may be lukewarm Christians who aren't lukewarm anymore. All of a sudden they'll be on fire. That's great. Some of them are brand new Christians. Okay. Some of them will be among the 144,000. Okay. But if they are not among the 144,000, if they're just Christians who end up being fifth seal martyrs, they are going to end up being priests in heaven, in the heavenly temple for the duration of the millennium. Okay. And it says that in Revelation chapter 7, that they're just going to minister in the temple. Now, I came across something that I had kind of forgotten. And God called the nation of Israel to be his firstborn. Okay. The nation of Israel is God's firstborn. And that's why he says to Pharaoh, Israel is my firstborn. Let him go so he can worship me in the wilderness. Okay. Later on, and then all the firstborns that were born, firstborn male children, the literal male child, the firstborn, would belong to God. He said, I want all your firstborn male sons. And then later on, he said, I'm going to take the tribe of Levi instead of the firstborn sons. And the tribe of Levi became the priestly tribe that is the firstborn that ministers to God. So one of the things I realized, oh, those people who are the fifth seal martyrs who are going to be in God's temple, they are a kind of firstborn too, because they are the replacement priests. Okay. I mean, they're the replacement of the firstborn male son that God said, I want you to give me the priest tribe instead of all of your firstborn males. So I'm like, oh, they get to be firstborns too. Well, how cool is that? But they have a different role that they're going to play. They're not going to be kings on the earth. They're going to minister to God in his temple. And that's their role. Okay. So I hope that answers your question. Part of the problem in thinking about this whole idea of firstborn is it's a foreign concept. Nobody talks about it. And nobody talks about it in the context of the end times. And yet that is what is written in the book of Revelation. It's all about sons. It's not about a bride until you get to chapter 19. And that's after the millennium is when the people are invited to the marriage supper of the Lamb. And then we see the invitation being extended in Revelation 22. That's when people are finally invited to the marriage supper of the Lamb. That's the time when the bride will have made herself ready. So, we've lived in a world of really bad Bible teaching in general, and really, really bad fairy tale eschatology. I hate to say it that way, but it's fairy tale eschatology. So anyway, any other questions? Lolly has another one. Do you think our earthly family members will be our forever family members as well, or will that not be relations anymore? Yeah, we're not. It's all going to be different. Okay, it's our family. I mean, we're going to know them and all of that, and I think we'll have warm, loving relations with them in terms of but we will with other people too. So the earthly forms of the way we live now, once we get to heaven, once we get to glory, and even in during the millennium and beyond, it's all different. Okay, we don't need the earthly stuff goes away. The things of earth grow strangely dim. Okay, and they will be very dim. They won't factor in at all, really, very little. Okay. ERLC role player. Brenda, what do we do if we don't get raptured this year? Will the war in Israel go on that long for another year? The labor pains, can they last that long? I don't think I think this is the year. I honestly, I don't see us going past the fall. This is the first year that I can pretty much confidently say I don't think we'll be going past November 20th. Okay. I just can't see it. I think we're on the precipice where, the wars and the everything is escalating so fast that I don't think we can put it back in the box again. I think once it reaches a certain place, God is going to make sure it's followed through with. So. So anyway, but on the off chance, the 2% or 1% chance that we go to next year, we'll have to go to next year. But I don't think Israel is going to be able to hold on that long. I really don't. I don't think we can have 2 years of labor pains. Okay, and we go in the fall. That's how that works. So yeah, I don't think we're going to go past this year. So, called to love. Question. Hi, Brenda. I'm a stay-at-home mom with a 3-year-old. Will he be able to witness with me during the 7 days? Yeah, I think he'll go with you. And if he doesn't go with you, because you got some grown-up things to do, I think you've got an angel babysitters, or there's going to be a place for him. He is going to be so loved and so protected. And if he isn't with you, he'll be with somebody very safe. And, these are things that, we trust the Lord with. And he's got a plan. He's got it all worked out. It's going to be great. So, and you may be able to go to, hang out with people who have little kids too, so he can go and play with them. So, it'll be just fine. You don't need to worry about that. Tracy Harms says, been seeing lots of comments talking about good versus evil. Okay, I don't know if you're seeing them here on this chat, because I haven't really been following this chat super close, or in other comments. Good versus evil. I'm thinking of that video where you talked about about life versus death. How can thinking about good versus evil trip up people? Well, I think one of the problems is it puts everything in a dichotomy. Okay, everything becomes either something is good or something is bad. And that's how we think: good, bad, good, bad. This person says this is good, that's bad, whatever. And, I think about all the times when Jesus was challenged by the Pharisees and scribes, like, um, is it lawful to pay taxes? And they were thinking, well, if he says this, then we can trip him up here. And if he says that, we'll trip him up there. They could only think about this, what this or that. And Jesus says, well, give me a coin. Okay, well, whose face is on that? Oh, that looks like Caesar. Okay, well, give to Caesar what belongs to Caesar, and to God the things that belong to God. When you get out of this dichotomy thing, and all of a sudden you're not living in this good versus evil world, you get actually into the realm of the spirit. Okay, you get good versus evil is, I like to think of it, that like the 10 commandments is good. Okay, but it's still on the tree of good versus evil, because it doesn't have a spiritual support. That is, we have to live by the spirit of life, not by the law, because there isn't no life in the law. It only brings death. So we have to get out of the realm of thinking about this is good and that is bad. We get into the realm of the spirit, and all of a sudden the spirit brings life and options. Okay, all of a sudden we can see things that we couldn't see before, because we were stuck in this good versus evil paradigm. And Satan wants you stuck in the good evil paradigm, because he knows that when people start living in the realm of the spirit, that they're going to be uncontrollable. Uncontrollable, because all of a sudden the spiritual realm, there's life up there. It's amazing. It's wonderful. So anyway, all right. So 1:37. Oh, where has the time gone? My goodness, where has the time gone? Okay, I need to be done, because I don't like to go over an hour and a half. So, because if it's too long, then people will not watch the live stream later. So it'll be just too long. Okay, so I'm going to wrap this up, and God bless you, my dear saints. God bless you, my brothers and sisters. Just love you all so much. Thank you, mods, for being here. Thank you, everybody who's helping out in all the different areas for the thumb drives and media fire and Discord. Everybody on Discord, so amazing. Also, we've got John, brother John, who has the little timeline, and our brother Reiner, who's doing the Telegram, and all. This is like amazing. I just feel so blessed. Anyway, God bless you all. God keep you all, and may He just minister to your hearts, and fill your hearts with love and joy and peace, and so that you can live this life with the with enthusiasm. Okay, and with hope. So God bless you. We'll see you all on another video, and don't forget to tune in over there at Rose Youssef's channel on Friday. September 20th, and we'll be talking about some fun stuff. So God bless you. We'll see you then.